hold the breath for 4 with our box breathing. So take a second, take a pause, lean back into your chair. I always like to close my eyes, but just notice what feels the most natural today. Breathing can always change, right? Depending on allergies, or if you're got a cold going on, or any kind of diagnosis with something that's going on in your body. So just notice what feels the most natural for you, either breathing through the nose or mouth. We're not going to try to change the breath at all. And this is a practice I like to do even before I open my eyes in the morning, before I even get out of bed, where I just kind of bring awareness to my breath. And then just allow the breath to be a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. Maybe take the inhale through the nose and then exhale, kind of yawn it out. And then just do that again. Just a nice kind of reset. Help the breath kind of waken you up. Inhale through the nose, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll do the box breathing. So at least try to take the inhale through the nose, and then you can decide if you want to exhale through the nose or the mouth. Either way, it's up to you. You can play around with it. So it's going to sound like this. We're going to exhale the breath all the way out. We're going to inhale through the nose to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale the breath, nose or mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that 3 more times. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more times. Inhale, nose. Hold. Exhale, nose or mouth. Hold the breath. 1 more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Try to relax the body. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then complete that box breathing. Sometimes it feels good to either just come back to that natural breath or sigh it out. And then make a little bit more effort, kind of sit yourself upright, do those little movements where you can kind of start to move the hips, maybe walk the feet forward, maybe a little shoulder shrug, anything to kind of just get those maybe pops out. You can kick off your shoes if you want. But find a place where you can kind of just sit a little bit more on the edge of the chair, have your heels underneath your knees, your feet are making the number 11, and we're trying to get our ears over our shoulders and our shoulders over our hips. So a couple of times, really make the effort to kind of see if you can sit up, shrug the shoulders up, and imagine you're kind of dropping the elbows down to the floor. Just to kind of help lengthen up and settling up and over the hips, which can be challenging. Holding up, lifting ourselves up away from gravity. And then just pause for a second. And eventually you can take those hands and reach them down along the sides of the body. Spread the fingers wide, do a little finger roll. Imagine that you're kind of reaching down towards the floor. So maybe on the left side, kind of reach, wriggle, wiggle. And then kind of reach over towards the right side. A little reach, wiggle, wiggle. But then eventually kind of find that all fingers can reach away from your earlobes and you're lifting your head up away from the ceiling or up towards the ceiling. And then we're gonna lift the palms up. See if you can touch your shoulders. And if you do kind of touch the shoulders, imagine like your elbows are gonna reach away from you. Maybe even take a second to kind of reach, maybe a little circular movement with the elbow, and then opposite side, a little reach, almost like little chicken wings. And then slowly let those arms just kind of fall back down, palms down, reach to the floor. Find your modification. If your shoulders don't lift that high, that's okay. Stop wherever you need to, but do it again. Palms up, touch your shoulders, kind of reach out through the elbows. So it's kind of just like, I don't really know how to explain that, but reach, and then kind of just let those arms fall back down to the floor. Palms down, wiggle your fingers towards the floor, spread your fingers wide, sit up tall. And then do it one more time, just to reach up, touch the shoulders, inhale, press out through the elbows, a little wiggle or a circular movement. And then inhale and then exhale, float those arms back down towards the floor. And then take your left hand, take it over to your opposite thigh, and then make that hook with your other hand. See if you can reach over to that shoulder and just do a little self-massage of kind of massaging into that upper shoulder. As far down to the end of the shoulder, and maybe as far up into the neck, kind of getting up towards the base of the skull. So again, it's like making that little hook. And if you can't reach up, that's fine. Maybe you just continue to do a little shoulder shrug. Or if you have a fancy massage TheraCane, you can always use that. And then you can, whichever hand is the massage hand, can then kind of just relax back down to the floor and then just switch it up. Right hand to left thigh. Left hand makes the hook. See if you can reach. It's a big reach. I always kind of like to drop my head a little bit and get down towards the end of the shoulder. And if it's too much to do the reach, you can always keep the other hand just kind of down. But this itself is a nice stretch, reaching one hand to the opposite thigh. And again, you're just kind of hooking, kind of like grabbing the muscle and maybe pulling it down a little bit. Or if that's too much, you can just do like little vibrational taps on the neck. Make sure you're not holding the breath. And then eventually you can take both hands down to the thighs and scoot your hands towards the ends of the knees. Make sure you can wiggle all your fingers, find your modification, play around with doing those push-ups, really using kind of the center part of the palm to really kind of press down, bend the elbows, look down, and then straighten the arms. Just to feel a little bit of your own body weight, bending the elbows, looking past your toes, and then straightening the arms and kind of just look up a little bit. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to step those feet farther apart. Step them as wide as you can. Your heels stay under your knees, and your toes are still pointing the same direction as your knees, and you want to make sure you can see your toes. And then play around with your little push-ups again, where we just bring a little bit of weight, more weight on your heels. So now my hands are really soft, so I'm barely holding myself up. I'm activating my core. It's like I'm not really using my hands. My hands are soft. I feel more weight in my feet. I might even squeeze my glutes a little bit. I'm going to big breath in, exhale, sigh it out. And then decide if you want to come up, straighten those arms, and then make a bigger leap, exploring the idea of maybe dropping your head in between your knees. And this isn't going to work for some. For some it will, but we just want to see if we can drop our head in between our knees and kind of imagine we're going to look underneath our chair. Hold for about 10 seconds, one round breath. And then I kind of look towards the floor. I look forward as I slowly straighten the arms. You're more than welcome to do that again if that did work for you. I'm going to take both hands, when you decide to come up, both hands over to the right thigh. And we're going to do kind of what we did last week with some of the punching and throwing our hand up and over our head. But decide, feet wide or feet together, it doesn't really matter. Except for the more wide your feet are, the bigger twist you're going to feel in your spine. So take a couple of rounds of breath. Really feel the abdominals and the chest wall expand when you inhale. And then exhale. Little shoulder shrug. And then when you're ready, we're going to keep looking over that same knee. And we're going to imagine that we're holding a ball, an imaginary ball, right over the top of your thigh. So almost imagine someone's throwing a ball at you. You're going to capture the ball and bring it over to your opposite hip. But I'm going to keep looking to the same direction, but I just want to see how far I can move that ball over to the opposite hip. It doesn't really matter how you're holding it, but I can feel this like nice big reaching towards that opposite thigh. Inhale, exhale. And then if I'm looking to the right, my left hand is going to punch over that knee, and then I'm going to punch again. So my left hand, I'm going to slowly kind of start to make fists. Punch left hand over right knee, and the other hand comes underneath the armpit. And then I punch again with the opposite hand. And the hands kind of pivot, and I kind of punch and pull the elbow back. So now it should be right hand over right thigh. And then that hand is going to push the air up, like we're pushing the air up over our head. And we can kind of just see how far we can reach. If you can't lift your hand up and over, just do like a little, bring it in, maybe a little chicken wing, or it's a reach up, over. And then we kind of come back to center. We're going to capture our ball back over on the same side. And we want to repeat. So we capture the ball. Bring it over to our opposite hip. I keep looking over the same direction. And then I'm going to take a nice big breath in, exhale out. I'm going to make my fist. Left hand punches over opposite thigh. Make the fist under the armpit. I almost think about my torso being kind of like a washing machine. I kind of feel my torso doing this, where I punch. And then I punch, and then I throw it up and overhead. Modify this movement if you need to. And then I'm going to capture a ball on that same side. So I kind of come up, I capture, inhale, exhale, bring that imaginary ball over to the opposite hip. This will be the last side that we do. I'm going to punch, opposite hand, over the thigh, pull that opposite hand under the armpit, and then punch again. My palm is facing down, and I'm pulling my fist under the armpit. Reach or push the air up and back. We're going to stay here. So if you got to use your hand to kind of rest, you can. Again, you can modify if you need to. Maybe you keep the shoulder down or chicken wing or reach. Look towards that knee. Inhale, opposite knee. Exhale, blow air out through the imaginary straw. And then decide if you want to maybe look up towards the middle finger in the air. If your arm is lifted, you might look up, 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 up. Or maybe if your arm is down, you kind of just gaze at the ceiling. And then inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And then you come and bring yourself back upright for a few seconds. It's a lot of movement on the spine. Key thing is, keep weight on your heels, squeeze your glutes, and keep yourself lifting up away from gravity. We don't want to be down here squishing our spine and moving. We want to feel ourselves lift, be large, take up space. And then take both hands over to the opposite thigh. So now I'm on my left thigh. And again, decide, feet far apart, bigger twist, or feet together for a smaller twist. But we always want to kind of be looking over the direction of our knee. So again, if my feet are wide, it's a bigger twist. Stay here, heel under knee, look at your toes, find a little movement. And if your body is like, oh, I don't like this, then you may not really want to do some of the other bigger. You might want to bring your feet closer together, and you may not want to make this movement so big. But we can just play around with it. So, again, if my hands are on my left thigh, I'm going to take my imaginary ball that someone's throwing me. I kind of imagine I capture it. And then I'm going to take that ball and bring it over to the opposite thigh. But I'm going to keep looking over the direction of my knee, and I can kind of just feel my whole torso twist, twist, twist. And I'm exaggerating this. Don't make it so big. Inhale, exhale. And then, for me, whichever hand is on top, that's the hand that's punching forward first. So I slowly make those fists. And then I'm going to take my right hand, punch over my left thigh, and the other hand kind of brings under my armpit, comes under my armpit. It's a punch, punch, punch. Punch again, opposite hand. And my wrist kind of turn, pull it under the armpit, punch forward. Whichever hand is punching forward now, palm up, push the air up and over your head, almost like you're just kind of throwing something behind you. Or again, you punch, drop the hand down and just kind of lean over. You decide. Capture the ball, it's coming back at you. On the same side, we kind of capture, reach, reach. And then pull it to the opposite hip. Inhale. Exhale. And then we punch right hand over left thigh. Punch left hand over left thigh. And then flip the air up and back. And I can feel my core engaging me because I'm lifting up and back. One more time, capture the ball, same knee. Bring it over to the opposite thigh. And really this is just kind of making you think about your right hand, lefts and rights. Inhale, exhale. Right hand punches over, left hand pulls back. Left hand punches, right hand pulls back. Flip the palm up, push the air up and back. Modify the shoulder if you need to. Pause here, drop the hand down anytime that you need to, but we're going to change the direction of the neck, so we're kind of leaning back. Look towards the left thigh. Inhale, exhale, blow air through the imaginary straw. Then decide if you want to look up, up, up towards the ceiling or towards that middle finger in the air. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly just go ahead and bring it down. Let yourself reset. Hands on thighs. And then decide if you want to keep your left hand on your left thigh. Excuse me, right hand on right thigh. Or put your right elbow down onto your thigh. So now we're using our elbow, the forearm, as our foundation. So kind of just pay attention to the shoulder. You can look down at the floor, explore a shoulder shrug, and just see what it feels like to kind of dump down and feel your weight on your forearm. I always like to imagine I'm on the floor, but I'm not. I'm sitting in a chair with my forearm on my thigh. Or you can keep your hand. It's always key to even play around with getting down on the floor and then up away from the floor safely. Bring your other hand to your center of your chest and just take a slow, big breath in. See if you can feel this chest expand when you inhale. Stay here or decide if you want to take the hand on the chest and reach it down to the floor and let that arm feel heavy. Take about 30 seconds just to kind of feel gravity, pull those fingertips down to the floor. You can stay still or kind of swirl it around. Wiggle the fingers. We're going to do our lawnmower pull. Getting ready for spring and summer. Okay. I don't know how many people still have push mowers, but I always like to imagine I'm looking down at the ground. I'm going to take my fingertips and again kind of make that fist and pull the fist to the armpit. You can stop at any point that you want, but you might take the fist at the armpit, reach the elbow up, 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 but I'm pressing down and reaching up at the same time. So I'm kind of using the arm to guide me, and I'm lifting up, 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 with the option of reaching those fingertips up, 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 up. A round of breath. And then as slow as you can, like a snail, dropping those fingertips back down to the floor if you decided to even lift your arm up. Lots of things to work on here. Decide what you want to do. Just make sure you're not holding the breath. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to make my fist, bring it to my armpit, and then decide if I want to reach the elbow up, up, up. And I'm reaching up so much that I'm not even really holding myself up anymore. It's just kind of there for support. And then maybe reaching out through the fingertips. It could even look like this. And a round of breath. One more time, I'm going to slowly move like a snail, dropping the fingertips down to the floor, almost thinking about reaching down and touching the inside of my ankle bone. Maybe you do touch it. I don't know. A round of breath. And then I'm going to slowly bring myself back up. Both hands on the thighs, and then I press myself up. I'm going to lift my heels, rock on my feet. I think you can see my feet a little bit. Lift the heels, point the toes up, maybe even a little calf squeeze, and slowly scoot those feet in. Wibble wobble your feet in, maybe touch your big toes to touch. And then extend the left leg out, toes up, a round of breath. Really press, press, press. And then do the opposite side. Extend the right leg out, heel out, toes up, press, press. A round of breath. And then we're going to do it again. Lift the heels, lift the toes, maybe squeeze those calves. It always feels good on my calves. Take your feet out as wide as you want to. Scoot those feet out. Left side. Keep your palm on your thigh. Or decide if you want to drop down to your forearm. Palm up. Take a second. I can just feel the side stretching a little bit. Decide if you want to do any of that like little shoulder shrug. Move slow. Maybe kind of just dump down, press yourself up. We are trying to hold ourselves up, but just kind of hold where it feels more natural. Maybe it's more natural where you kind of feel the shoulder in your ear, but eventually you might want to kind of just press yourself up a little bit. Bring your hand towards the center of the chest, just to kind of have that awareness. If you're like down low, or if you kind of like press it up a little bit more. And then decide if you want to do all that movement that we did on the other side. Every side is always different, but I like to look down and then let my arm come down. So when we look first, it's kind of like giving our brain that we're about to come down, down, down to the floor. A round of breath, we wiggle the fingers, maybe sway the arm, still holding myself up. And if you can't do it on this side, maybe you're just kind of leaning forward. Maybe there's no weight, or maybe there's a lot of weight. And then decide, maybe reaching down, 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 make the fist under the armpit. Maybe the elbow reaches up, up, up. And the arm does reach, but I'm also kind of pressing myself down to lift up. And then slowly maybe reach those fingertips forward. It's kind of like that early morning stretch. A round of breath. And I'm still looking down or whichever direction that feels okay. And like a snail, I bend the elbow and let those fingertips drop down. I want to look towards the floor and let the arm feel heavy. Take a second or two. And then when you're ready, if you decide, reaching down, 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 make the fist, pull it to the armpit, maybe extend the fingertips, and again, eventually that elbow becomes so soft that you're not even really holding yourself up. It's kind of like reaching up, but letting yourself be heavy. Like a snail, drop the arm down. And then this time when the arm comes down, maybe you think about reaching to the inside, ankle bone, maybe you do touch it. Slow inhale, slow exhale. And I like to bring both hands back towards the thighs. I kind of bring myself back to center and then press myself up. Your feet, lift your heels, point your toes up, slowly scoot, 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 scoot your legs together. Maybe your heels and your toes touch. I don't know. Bring your hands to the thighs. We're going to get our whole belly to rest on our thighs. First, kind of scoot yourself towards the edge of the chair. Don't slip out. Hands on thighs. And then this is how I like to find length more in the lower back. It's kind of like a downward dog to me. If we were on the floor with our hands and feet on the floor, we could push our tailbone up towards the ceiling, but I like to start at the base of my chair and then hands on knees, and then imagine I can scoot my tailbone towards the back of the chair. I don't really let my feet move. And then I decide if I want to lean over the tops of my thighs, hands on knees, or fingertips can reach to the toes. Or gosh, since I have this dresser in front of me, maybe I even reach towards the dresser. That was not planned either way. But I inhale, expand my belly onto my thighs, feel awkward pressure. Exhale. I'm going to hold for 2 more rounds of breath. Hands on knees, or maybe you use your elbows. Maybe you take your head down below your heart. And then eventually I use my hands, press myself up. Feel a little lightheaded. How much time do I have? Oh, okay. I was gonna do one more thing, but we'll just go back to what we kind of already know. Scoot myself forward, lean myself back, And then this time, extend your legs forward as high as you can, and see if you can point your toes away from you, almost like you're going to curl your toes under. And then if you can point your toes away from you, see if you can kind of wave your toes to the left and to the right. Lifting one leg, pointing your toes away, and just imagine you can kind of just wave your toes to the left and right. And then go into an ankle rotation. A couple of times do your swivels where we bend our knee, kiss your heel anywhere over to the opposite thigh, and then swivel it out as wide as you can, touch the floor. If that felt okay, no popping in the hip joint. If you feel popping, make the movement smaller. See how high you can lift the knee, extend the leg out, point the toes away, wibble wobble to the left and to the right, ankle rotations, and then again bend the knee and see if you can kiss that heel anywhere over on the opposite leg. Almost like you're going to cross the leg, but then you're going to take it out and down. One more time, all of it. Lift, lift, point, point, wave, wave, roll, and then heel into leg, like you're going to cross and then step out. And then you can bring it back to center. Use your little fist, kind of tap into the hip joint, or even kind of sweep. And then play around with the opposite side. So I'm still leaning back into my chair. Lift the opposite leg, point the toes away, almost like you're going to curl under. Maybe even kind of wave the toes. Roll through the ankle. And the leg does not have to be lifted as high. It can be lower. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. And then when you're ready, that heel is going to turn in like you're going to cross your leg, and then you're going to step it out. Lift, point your toes away, wave, roll, and maybe it stays low, and then step out. One more time. Lift, toes away, wave, roll, and then lift the knee. Turn it in, turn it out. And then on the opposite side, we're almost done. A little kind of vibrational tap into the hip joint. And you can use those fingers too if you want. Maybe it's a little sweep. Maybe it's 2 sweeps. And then let yourself get comfortable. Let yourself lean back. And really the 2 sensations that we want to feel here is letting yourself be heavy. I feel like it's a quality we kind of tend to feel, right? Gravity takes us down. So just imagine elbows are heavy. You can feel your feet flat on your floor. And another one, see if you can imagine your jaw being heavy. So open up the mouth wide, stretch out the muscles in the jaw, maybe even a little massage of the jaw. We're coming into stillness. Notice the breath and give yourself permission to allow the body to feel heavy. I'm going to turn this light off. This is a good place to start. It's almost like laying in bed. Finding stillness, feel your heartbeat. See if you can slow down long enough to feel your own heartbeat. So it's easy to feel gravity, allow the body to feel heavy. But then notice where you feel light. Notice anywhere in the body that you might feel a little bit more of the opposite of heavy. So maybe sensations of feeling light. I feel like we're always working with opposites. Heavy, light. happy, sad, energy, no energy. So just for this moment, notice where in the body you feel light. Notice where in your body you feel heavy. Still keeping awareness of the breath. And then we'll close our practice, our time together, with those yawns, my favorite ones. So if you want, you can kind of wiggle your fingers and your toes, open the eyes if they weren't already, and then do that yawn in through the mouth and then exhale, sigh it out. I like to do it 3 times. Another great way to bring energy into the body. One more. And that's it. Good movement. If you have any questions, feel free to stick on a little bit longer.